time. Getting set for the blue section of the boys 5K at the XC Town USA Meet of Champions. Final instructions to the starter. Flag and gun are up. And we are underway. That is a good shot to show how many athletes we have in this race as we break up the sections into smaller groups. There are breaks between each of the race to make sure that the competitors can get out of the way to be ready for the next group of competitors as well. Also makes it competitive amongst these sections here as well, as athletes have an opportunity to toe the line with athletes in their competitive area of racing. But we have had good racing so far on the girls' side. If you're just joining us, we've had racing throughout the morning. Margaret Carroll of Pennsylvania won the blue section of the girls' race. This is the blue section for the boys. And just a few minutes ago, Alex Bauer of Ohio took the victory in the white section of the girls' race. 5K the distance here for all of these races at the high school level as we get things underway here in Terre Haute.
Ryan Moats, team MVP, broke 16 minutes in 3 different races this year. Charlie Nowinski of Ohio.
So as we get shots from the Gator now, as we'll follow these athletes as they go basically due south on this race course, a long stretch at what is the lower end if you look at the course map, but actually the course runs from the start north to south. They're running right into the wind at this point. You can see the bibs that are shaking in the breeze as well. 11:36, that's James Schmidt of Oak Hills High School in Ohio, trying to make it back-to-back wins for Ohioans as the win just a few minutes ago by Alex Bauer in the girls' race. 9:06 center of picture, that's Jimmy Malarkey out of Kentucky from Fern Creek, the junior. And in the yellow, 13:25, Arnav Tikhe of Virginia, Oakton High School, the senior in this race here in 2020. So that's the 3 leaders early on in this race. If it reveals itself to be a race similar in tactic to what we've seen in the other 2 races from the girls here in the last hour or so, pretty tight racing in the early going. About the mile mark, we see a breakaway, and in both cases in those girls' races, it was a single athlete kind of breaking out from the rest. Margaret Carroll winning that blue section race, and then Alex Bauer winning the girls' race. But we'll see what happens here on the boys' side as well. Briskly starting this 5K run using almost all of the certified race course here at Laverne Gibson. Just a few small twists and turns that are not being included in this 5K, but they're basically using the entire stretch of the race courses. They hit the southernmost end of the course and now will work their way around to what, again, on the course map is the top of the race course, but now working their way back up to the north before they weave themselves around. This is the furthest point away from the start-finish line that the athletes will be. We have some momentary lapses where we may lose perfect camera feeds, and apologize for those in advance, but a great job by our team in place here. It has been, from a production standpoint, a very new and innovative year of providing you live coverage of these events when we can, and limiting the number of folks that we have on the ground out there traveling away from our home base in Oregon. But appreciate those members of our team that are out there bringing these pictures to you live as we cover this boys blue 5K section at the XC Town USA Meet of Champions. 4 minutes into this race, Tikhe is still the leader out there in front, closing in on what will be the first split we'll have. They'll cross aprons at the 1 mile mark. We'll get, at that point, a chance to list all of the top racers in the field. Kai Connor, 3:41. You see him in the blue with the New York singlet. Just to the left of picture, the junior, actually out of Indiana, but having the New York across his chest and his singlet. 2:34 running alongside him is Spencer Carpenter out of Westview High School in Indiana. And as was introduced earlier, 9:06, Jimmy Malarkey of Kentucky running alongside Tikhe here in second. Closing in again on that first mile mark, nearing 5 minutes into the racing. Rendon Kuykendall of Hope Christian Cross Country Club in New Mexico moving out on the outside, trying to get himself in position here, closing in on that first mile run at the 5K distance. But Tikhe is now in the lead.
Jimmy Malarkey also mixing in amongst the leaders.
They get to that far side of the race course, getting back up to the northern end directionally, buoyed a little bit by the winds from behind them at this point. Tikhe with the lead at the mile mark of 4:58.3. Then Malarkey, Spencer Carpenter, Kai Connor out of Indiana, and then Remington Carpenter of Indiana in fifth. Rounding out the top 10, Parker Lambers of Michigan, Zachary Brill of Pennsylvania, Rendon Kuykendall, who I mentioned moving up, is out of New Mexico. He is in eighth. Garrett Gallagher in ninth out of Maryland. And then Wisconsin's Logan Bell in the top 10. The only other athlete under 5 minutes for that first mile, 4:59.8. And again, Tikhe the leader at 4:58.3. Tikhe, the senior out of Oakton High School in Vienna, Virginia. Had a lot of time trials on his schedule so far this year. Ran a 9:29 for 2 miles back in August. Then ran a track time trial in September. And then a couple of cross-country events here in the month of October. Was all-state cross-country last year. Asked him about what he has been going through this year. He just said the first thing he wanted to say is thank you for putting on this meet. So passing along those thank yous to the meet organizers and NSAF. Said he loved the opportunity to race even though he was hoping to race in championship races, but because of the seedings were based on meets earlier in the season and he didn't run well, he's just happy for the opportunity to run in the blue race. And as we saw, because these are seeded sections, not necessarily the case that the time that was run in winning the blue section would not have made you competitive in the other races. And in the case of the girls' race, it was true that Margaret Carroll of Pennsylvania actually ran a faster time in winning her blue section race than did Alex Bauer of Ohio winning the white section race. So Tikhe is trying now to take some control of this race. He's got some company with him, though, so still competitive here as we continue the racing, as they work their way around this Laverne Gibson Championship race course. Spencer Carpenter there just a stride or two behind, trying to stay within striking distance. Rendon Kuykendall is in third. But Kuykendall giving up a little bit of ground now as we get a look from everyone coming up off that rise. And this dedicated cross-country course built on a reclaimed coal mine. And just look at those flags as it's now coming at them at the side. Here's a group of spectators aligned on the race course. Limited amount of folks here obviously let in to see the competition. Many of them will have competed earlier on in the day. A few supporters as well. A lot of locals obviously come out and support events here at Laverne Gibson each and every year. But now Tikhe is in the lead. And there, as we look at the red, white, and blue on the flagpole in Terre Haute, the winds continue to whip here. Again, coming from the south to the north, so the biggest place they see that was at the start of the race, and for the enjoyment of all of us watching at home, it will also hit them at the finish of the race. As their 3K coming now to the race with 2K to go. Tikhe still the leader with Carpenter and Kuykendall. Came through the first mile in 4:58.3, so we should see the 2-mile split, and Matt's coming up here. Kuykendall looks over his shoulder to see where he is in third. But Tikhe continues to drive here out in front. The senior out of Vienna, Virginia, trying to take home a victory here. Now the 2-mile mark has come and gone. A little slower on that second mile, just a shade over 10 minutes and 10 seconds. We'll get an official mark here in a moment. And now back straight into that wind. And Carpenter now running alongside Tikhe. Everyone looking for some solid footing. Kuykendall about a half second behind in third. And then behind them, Kai Connor, Logan Bell, Zachary Brill, Matt Coyle, Remington Carpenter, and Kyle McNally. Those are your top 9 currently in the race. Big move by Matt Coyle over the second miles, moved up 6 positions. And Kuykendall himself has moved up 5 spots into that third position and has reclaimed that space between him and Carpenter and is now settled into third.
Kai Connor breaking away from the chase pack a little bit, still trying to chase down Rendon.
And now Kuykendall in the striped singlet. See a little bit of careful stepping by Carpenter as they came around that curve. Tikhe, not liking that move, tries to cover it by Kuykendall right up alongside, and Kuykendall says not so fast and will hold on to the lead. Meantime, Carpenter sneaking up on the inside. A good race shaping up here in the boys' blue race at the XC Town USA Meet of Champions here in Terre Haute, Indiana. 3 men in front here battling for the victory in the first of 2 back-to-back races in seeded sections in the boys. We'll have the girls' championship race to follow and then the boys' championship race to close out the day. But right now a 3-man race, and maybe now just becoming quickly 2 as Tikhe has lost a little bit of ground here at the 12-minute mark. Kuykendall and Carpenter. Kuykendall now in front. Should be coming up to about a K to go, I think, if we're close. There is the 4K marker. So 1 kilometer left to run. Kuykendall with a slight advantage. Carpenter on the inside of the race course, trying to move his way down and maneuver for potentially a taking of the lead. And there you see it, a move and a confident one at that by Spencer Carpenter of Indiana. Carpenter out of Westview High School in La Grande, Indiana. All-stater this year.
And that experience is showing. Making a strong move and trying to make it count right now.
Said in his bio listing he's a big outdoorsman. So why not be perfectly suited for what the conditions have brought here today? And you see Kuykendall look over his shoulder trying to figure out where Tikhe is because he's lost his connection to Spencer Carpenter, who is now out in front taking control of this race with less than a kilometer to go. Carpenter now will get the benefit of a gentle downslope here that's bringing them back down to what was the start line for this race, and then it is just a race straight on to the finish line and the potential victory. See if Kuykendall has anything left in the tank to try to close this gap as Spencer Carpenter will make the turn. Will come through the start line gate, and now we'll have a chance to see the finish line out in the distance. Tikhe still holding on to third.
Carpenter.
But it looks like Connor now trying to close the gap on Tikhe with a few runners behind him. So the battle for the top three still in doubt here as we close into the final stretch. Spencer Carpenter with the lead. Rendon Kuykendall in second. Tikhe still with that secure spot in third, but it's a gap that is narrowing. They're battling through this wind here in the final stretch in Terre Haute.
Here in Indiana.
Spencer Carpenter credits his cousin Skylar Carpenter, who was a 7-time state champion in track and field back between 2010 and 2012, as the inspiration for him to participate in the sport of track and field. And that talent on the track has converted to talent in cross country as well as the outdoors type. Spencer Carpenter out of Westview in Indiana takes the win here in the boys blue 5K section.
Kuykendall, Kai Connor, second and third.
And it is Kuykendall, and then Connor overtakes Tikhe. Tikhe will finish in the top 5. And we'll have our official results here populating in the lower left here as we'll keep our camera on the finish line so you can see everyone coming across the line. A few congratulations amongst the participants as well as they try to gather themselves, and we'll keep them moving. There has been much work done in the athlete flow here to make sure that everyone who gets across the line gets separated from their competitors as quickly as possible, get those face masks back on, and assure that everyone gets out of this competition day in a safe and healthy manner. Rendon Kuykendall had a great, strong performance there, but was not enough to win. They will revise those standings you see there on the scoreboard, having not yet officially put the winning time on the board for our winner, Spencer Carpenter. Kuykendall 16:09.3 and finishing in second. Kai Connor second in 16:13.1. And Matt Coyle overtaking Tikhe to finish in fourth in 16:17.6.
Working really well, and make sure that everyone in the facility has a mask or some kind of face covering on.
So continue to see our finishers come across the line in this blue section of the boys 5K. We've updated the timing results for a moment there, waiting for live timing as everyone has a chip that brings them across the map and gets them their official time. We didn't have Spencer Carpenter at the top of the list until just a moment ago, but he comes in officially as the only runner under 16 minutes in this race, 15:59.9. His winning time about 9 seconds ahead of Rendon Kuykendall of Hope Christian Cross Country Club in New Mexico. Kai Connor in third. Out of Indiana, Illinois' Matt Coyle in fourth. And Tikhe, who led for much of the race, the Virginian, would wind up finishing in fifth in 16:19.3. But we'll keep the camera on the finish as we get these last few runners across the line. Everyone deserves to get a shot of themselves getting across the line here. Everybody a winner and competing in this so unusual year of 2020. And just a pleasure to have the opportunity to bring this coverage to you live on runnerspace.com on this November Sunday in 2020. Reminder, our next race will come your way at 45 minutes past the hour. It'll be the white section of the boys race, and then we'll set the stage for the big two races to close the day. Girls Championship 5K race at 2:30 p.m. Eastern Time, and then the boys Championship race follows 45 minutes after that at 3:15. We've been staying on the clock pretty good, so if you're jumping away to come back to watch the racing, you will have the opportunity to come back at that 45-minute progress point, and those races will be ready to go. But no one was better on this race course in the last race than our first place finisher, Spencer Carpenter of Westview in Indiana. A winning time of 15:59.9 to take the win over Rendon Kuykendall and Kai Connor. Great to have a chance to have an opportunity to hear from all the section winners throughout the weekend, and have an opportunity to hear from Spencer Carpenter here trackside momentarily. Let's go down to Chris Nickinson, who has our winner, Spencer Carpenter.
.59. You're from Indiana, in LaGrange County area. So you're familiar with this course. How did it go today for you?
It was pretty good. Very windy. So I took that as a strategy to race, to see who would take it first, and worked my way from there. So yeah.
It felt like we had some pretty strong 40-50 mile an hour gusts maybe there in the middle of that race. Did you use your knowledge of the ups and downs of this course to take advantage there?
Yeah, I knew that the first mile is either slow or fast. It's one of those two, and coming around up to the loop-de-loops, I call them, I just was making sure that I would just stay with him, because if you're not from Indiana and you don't know those loops that are there, it can be hard sometimes. So I use that to my advantage too.
And I know you had your state meet here in the last week or so. What does it mean to be able to get another chance to run here thanks to the NSAF and Garrett companies?
I was very happy to hear about this because I wanted to come down. Yeah, I did good at state. I got 20th, yeah. And I was I want to come back and just see what I can do in another race down here, because I like this course. So I decided to do it, and it was very worth it.
How many times have you run here?
I think this will be my fifth.
Okay.
Fifth or sixth.
You like it, right? Well, it's cold, it's windy. We're going to let you go, but congrats on the win, and good luck in the future.
All right, thank you.
All right, back to you, Paul.
Thanks very much, Chris, and congratulations to our winner here in this boys blue section at the XC Town USA Meet of Champions. Spencer Carpenter, no stranger to the race course. He's run it about 5 times, and this one probably the highlight of the 5 he has run as he takes the victory over a good field of runners from all over the country, and the only man under 16 minutes over the 5,000-meter distance, 15:59.9, taking the win. We'll scroll through the results for you so you can see all of the competitors and their finish. Congratulations also to Lions LeGrand Track Club of Illinois, who, along with Spencer Carpenter, I believe, are now the team champions from this race. All of the results available for you on our website through our live timing service. We'll step aside once again, take a little bit of a break, get ready for the next race on the track. It'll be the white section of the boys 5K distance. That'll come your way at 45 minutes after the hour. We'll be on just a few minutes before to set the fields and set the stage for that racing here at Laverne Gibson Championship Cross Country Course. So stick around. We'll be right back. More coverage of the 2020 XC Town USA Meet of Champions presented by the Garrett Companies. More racing to come. Stick around.
High school boys open. White race is 20 minutes away. 20 minutes away. Current course time is 1:25.